Guys, welcome back to the podcast. Great question that I want to kind of run through today that kind of bounced back and forth with a number of you and have done for years now is how do I progress my strength training for running? So essentially, if you're a runner right now, someone who is on a program, you are working with a strength conditioning program or a strength program, how do you progress it? You know, the individual exercises, what are the considerations? What, things can you be doing or actively thinking about as you look to kind of progress your program week to week, especially as you're kind of moving towards particular events, but also as you're just naturally getting stronger. What should you be thinking? How should you be progressing those individual exercises, the loads, the reps, the resistances, the complexity of the exercises? So first and foremost, one of the most important things you can be thinking about, especially when you're getting into integrating a strength program into a running program, is GPP, your general physical preparation. Like you're trying to get your body in a place where you can absorb a lot of work or more ever increasing work. You're looking to put more intensity, more volume onto your body. And we want to make sure that your chassis, your bones, your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments are all going to be able to tolerate those ever increasing demands. The impacts, the twists and turns, the depth of conditioning that you have in your muscle tissue, we want to be working on developing that, not just relying on your run program to be doing that, but we want to be making sure that you are actually putting the work in away from your run program and actually going into detail, going into the depth of some of those areas. Now, GPP, general physical preparation, it's just a term we use in strength conditioning where we are looking to periodize someone's program. When you're working through someone through a block of this GPP, it could be 4 weeks, it could be 2, 4, 6, 8, upwards of 20 plus weeks with some people, depending on what the outcome of the program is. You are essentially building out your foundations. We want to make sure that you have got great foundations of stability, of strength, that you've got good balance, proprioception, coordination. You don't have any obvious imbalances. And this can all be tackled and obviously worked upon in just some basic generic strength conditioning work. You're selecting a few of those lower body exercises, a few upper body exercises. You're working on your core, your posterior chain, you're working on your single leg strength, but you're putting in 3 sets of 10 reps. Hopefully you are being dialed in, and the accountability to this is going to be on technique, on range of motion. You want to be thinking, making sure that you're just moving with basically good biomechanics. Not to be lean into this too much, but essentially you just want to be moving relatively efficiently with relatively good movement economy, not to sound too fancy, but essentially because you're wanting to take those basics into your running. Like the thing that lets people down time and time again in their running is that they lose this biomechanical efficiency. They start to fall apart, literally, because they don't have that depth of strength and conditioning in their muscle tissue, in their bones, ligaments, tendons. So your GPP, first and foremost, basic movement patterns, squats, hinges, deadlifts, single leg work, upper body work, core work, 3x10, 3x5, like generic, nice, easy numbers, lots of recovery, 60 to 90 seconds. And you want to be repeating that for a block of time. How long? It depends on what your confidence, your confidence is building, your competency. Like, are you able to do this time and time again without picking up massive muscle soreness? Like, you're not, obviously you want to prevent injury, but then we're starting to build up the intensity. You're starting to add resistance. You're trying to add reps. You're starting to increase the overall intensity of those sessions. As you've got to a place where you're ticking along, and you will know this because you're moving into these sessions with a relative autonomy. You're just like, yeah, no, I know what it feels like. Body's ticking along nicely. I know what the exercises look like, feel like. Body's absorbing it well alongside my run program. We can then start to go, right, this person is ready for more specific type of training. And we talk about this SPP block, more of a specific kind of periodization where we're literally trying to progress you into more complex movement patterns. We're trying to challenge other qualities of your physiology. We're trying to get more power out of you. We're trying to get more endurance out of you. We are looking to create even more conditioning into certain joint structures. Some of you may be coming into, you may be performing your strength training because you're coming back, you're trying to rehabilitate or prevent injuries that have happened in the past. You're trying to obviously preempt it, get ahead of it. And so we're looking to start to bully certain aspects even more so. We start to obviously challenge people with more unilateral work, single side work, lower body, upper body. You're starting to challenge their power, their speed. You're trying to bring in more complex plyometric work where you're challenging their ability to produce and absorb force through their legs. But all the way you're trying to progress this. To give you context, Let's take the squat. Okay. Let's take the bodyweight squat. What are we thinking? We're thinking day one, we want to be moving into that kind of deep range of motion, as well as deep as we can, where we're getting that nice hips below knee depth. If we're looking from the front, we've got good symmetry. We're not collapsing through the shoulders, the hips, the ankles. We're maintaining good tension in the body. So if we were to put load on you, you'd be able to withstand holding 5, 10, 15 kilos in your hands with no problem. We want to progress this into a goblet squat of some sort. You want to be adding load to that squat pattern. Why? Because a squat is a great way of developing pretty much all-round full body strength. It's a compound movement. We develop that into a goblet squat, into double dumbbell goblet squat, where we're kind of full front loaded squat, because we're trying to add resistance, we're adding load. From here, we get into a place where we're starting to hit a ceiling, where you are starting to move higher percentages of your body weight. You're starting to move towards lifting. If you're 60 kilo in weight, you're starting to move 15, 20 kilo for fun. Where do we go from here? Do we keep adding free weights to this situation, or, in terms of dumbbells, kettlebells? Or do we start to bring in barbells? Barbells are designed to obviously allow us to push more load, more resistance to our body in a practical way. Love them or hate them, they're just a tool of the trade. You can be jumping onto machines to do this, but the stability benefits, the other external benefits you get from utilizing free weights like barbells, is that you're forcing your body to stabilize, to act under load. We bring in a barbell. Is it a back squat? Is it a front squat? Either way, we're starting to bring that kind of higher levels of complexity into your program. The loads that we're working with, the rep schemes that we're working with, 3 by 10, 3 by 8, 3 by 15. You're working with these numbers because we're literally every phase that you've gone through, bodyweight squat, goblet squat, front, back squat, you are working at these kind of relatively generic numbers to start with, because it's all about acclimatizing your body to these newer, higher levels of stimulus. Each level will bring a different type of stimulus to the body, force your body to adapt, to grow, to obviously to develop more structural integrity around your joints, develop more muscle tissue, all the good stuff. As you move into more specific kind of narrowing down on the detail, you start to work to higher loads, higher resistances. Back squat, front squat, barbell split squats. I'm not biased, we're not biased. What we want to be doing is putting load through the body, because the body responds to load. If you keep it at these lower intensities of work, your body will not adapt. It will just cruise. And a lot of the time, it becomes almost demotivating, and you see people fall into the wayside. They drop their S&C because you're not getting enough out of it. You're not benefiting it. You're not seeing the results from that investment that you're making. So your SPP training wants to then start to see you tapping into these higher percentages of your body weight. We often say body weight is a great metric to be working towards 60%, 100% of your body weight. So working towards being able to lift, hypothetically, 60 kilo for fun. Back squat, front squat. These are great places to be kind of aspiring to. Logically, you're probably working towards 50, 75% for a lot of the runners that we work with. And then over time, as they accumulate more conditioning, they start to move 1%, 1 times body weight, 1.5 times body weight, and that's not unheard of. It's quite a generic number that a lot of high performers, well-conditioned strength runners or strong runners will be able to do. Take some single leg work. Day one, week one. Can you perform a single leg squat, from a bench? Yes or no? Do you have good control of that action, of that movement pattern? Do you show good alignment and synergy of the shoulder, the hip, the knee, the ankle? Yes or no? Do you have good eccentric control as you lower down through that range, as you lower your leg down on your bum, down onto that bench, that box behind you? Yes or no? What's your body showing you, telling you? From here, then this is level 1 stuff. This is GPP, guys. You're starting to build up the repetitions of this, 3 by 5, 3 by 8, 3 by 10. You're starting to bring in lateral step-ups. Why? Because they're another variation of this kind of single leg action, driving through the leg. You're trying to expose those weaknesses. But this is all GPP training, guys. Let's take it into more SPP, like more specific, kind of higher complexity. We start to load that single leg with like barbell, cable, dumbbell, kettlebell, a single leg deadlifts, single leg RDLs. We can take that into barbell split squats, dumbbell split squats. We're starting to load the leg. We're increasing the complexity by adding more intensity, more resistance. Why? Well, because we are trying to meet the demands of the activities that you're looking to do in the future. You're looking to run higher volumes, further distances. You're looking to traverse kind of complex terrains. You're looking to put in high speeds, high velocities through your legs. What is it going to take? Your body needs to be highly acclimatized to those higher forces, those higher outputs. you're bringing in that heavier single load training. You're bringing in some more complexity with plyometric drills. That is part of this continuum. You're bringing in more complexity in terms of your plyometrics with that single leg, because you're trying to express more power, more speed through those legs. So as we progress it, guys, so we are looking to be able to increase the complexity. And is it just one linear continuum? Absolutely not. Like we want to be manipulating this GPP training, SPP training, your taper, your maintenance. We take people through different blocks of training depending on what their calendar looks like, their timetable looks like, how they're responding to their programming. This is why it can be very not dangerous, careless, whatever you want to call it, when you're seeing people like going straight into SPP, like high complex, kind of high loads, moving with high complexity within a matter of weeks on a body that probably hasn't developed that conditioning yet. And that's where people can fall short. No matter who you are, no matter what level you're working at, you'll see people bringing in a block of GPP training, 2-3 weeks, allowing the body to acclimatize condition. And then you're bringing in, then you're starting to earn the right to be doing that higher complex, heavier loads, etc. The rep, the set, the loading scheme, the way we kind of build out a program, it's going to be dependent on that individual's ability to acclimatize, to adjust, to develop that level of conditioning that's allowing them to not just lift and progress their training, their strength training, but they're building up their running alongside this. They're seeing they're able to tolerate higher speeds on the track. They're able to increase their volumes out on the trails. They're able to do all of it. And this is a part of it that we need to be quantifying all the time. We don't just want to be following this kind of generic 12-week templates, because along the way, we're trying to manage your running volume and your training intensities and navigating C races, B races, time trials, whatever you're doing along the way, cross country. This is where the art of coaching will come in, where we're just manipulating these loads along the way. We're extending out those 4-week blocks, bringing in those extra little tapers where we're deloading you for a moment. But this is kind of how we want to start to progress your strength training. We want to be progressively building up the complexity. We want to be progressively building up the reps, the weights, the sets, etc. But it's going to be dependent on how you're tolerating it, how well you're kind of adjusting to these ever increasing demands. And this is obviously what you want to be kind of reviewing, and make sure to like document this as you're going along via an app, via paperwork, via a spreadsheet, whatever you need to do, map it out, because it will give you this feedback, this consistent feedback. And when you do sit down in front of a coach, you can actually then be able to pass that over. And it's a great way of, again, straight away understanding the conditioning of this individual and where the level of kind of consistency of progress they may be making, and where you can then be taking this all. All right. So guys, hope that was useful. Obviously a nice, great topic that we can kind of keep rolling with. Listen into next week's as we discuss increasing these loads and repetitions. I want to kind of go into a little bit more detail about this, because there's obviously these other greater considerations that kind of you want to be taking into consideration that is actually can often be based around specific exercises, specific times within your overall annual training program, there where loads and repetitions, kind of that the art of that needs to be taken into consideration to prevent overtraining, but also just to maintain this nice consistency of results, benefits from all of your strength training. All right, guys, any questions as always, reach out, let us know, and I'll speak to you soon.